Greetings, everybody. My name is Zanele Mola, and I'm a youth reporter with the Radio Workshop. It is still a scorching hot afternoon at the SNF Nostos 2023, and I'm not riding alone, obviously. I'm with my co-host. Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Greetings, everybody. My name is Mkansi Tato, aka Dave T, and from Radio Workshop in South Africa.
And I am Helena Grizelaki, and I'm from Radio Pantheon. Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
But
so
then,
nice.
if there's one thing I know is that I'm super exhausted. But I just want to know, how are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling exhausted too, but at the same time happy. I just don't know. I have mixed emotions, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to. But I'm feeling exhausted and happy. How are you feeling, Helena?
I'm actually feeling very well. I don't know. I was exhausted at first, but now that it's our last session here and the day is wrapping up,
Right.
I don't know. I'm just giving it my all.
I just needed to do like a quick recap of our previous sessions and of what we've covered today, and yeah, the whole experience of the conference. What still is my highlight of the day though is our opening interview. I felt like we have very powerful and inspiring interviewees, and they're very insightful to listen to. So Helena, what was your highlight for the day so far?
The opening interview was truly amazing. It went way better than I thought. Tatu, what about you?
It definitely has to be the opening interview. Like it was so powerful. Like it's more like a motive behind it that says like when you work, it doesn't have to feel like working. It has to feel like you
Yeah.
have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to enjoy what the work that you're doing. So you don't have to feel like you're at work at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the power behind that whole interview.
Yeah, so we've been talking about mental health for literally the whole conference, and we were going to dive into the experience of reporting for the past 3 days. But right about now, our gorgeous Helena is going to interview Hannah, who's going to talk a lot more about her mental health experiences and the type of work that she does. So see you in a jiffy.
Radio with the Radio Workshop and Radio Pantheon.
We are back at the SNF Nostos Pop-Up Radio, and here with us we have Hannah Travers, who is the director of the Arts Fundraisers. It's lovely having you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Helen.
Could you kindly tell us what exactly the Art Fundraisers do?
So we work with a range of organisations across the world that deal predominantly where art and creativity meet social impact. So using the creative arts in all of its wonderful, varied, diverse forms to reach out to people and give people a way to connect with communities, to enhance their mental health and well-being, and to learn new skills and find their voice.
So is there any specific age group that you guys focus on, or is just an open slot?
No, we work with lots of different organisations. So we focus a lot working with young people, but also, for instance, we take choirs into prisons with an organisation called Liberty Choir, where we work both in juvenile detention centres, but also in adult prisons. So it varies in age a lot. And we also work a lot with the older generation, so combating loneliness through bringing, people over 60 to cabaret afternoons and drag tea parties and such like. So really celebrate, bringing the joy out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love how you focus on different art forms. I'd like to ask you, have you ever went through something in your life where you had to use art as a coping mechanism?
Oh, absolutely. I have a chronic illness. So I have type 1 diabetes and got it when I was 7 years old, which back when I was 7 years old, we didn't have mental health care for children when they get a chronic illness. So a lot of my way of dealing and coping with that was I joined a theatre group.
Ooh.
And so working with other children to really try and express what I was going through and to find a way to have a voice in a community that understood what was going on with my life. So for me, that was a great outlet because you can be angry on stage. You can be sad on stage and nobody goes, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
You have a way of expressing yourself without everyone getting really worried about you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
So can you tell me about the moment when you decided to invest in the arts?
I think I've always been invested in the arts. I have, ever since I've been growing up, I've loved art, all forms. I've played the saxophone. I've been in theatre groups. Then when I got older, I realised I have an ability and a passion for raising money and communicating and to powerfully communicating stories for other people.
That's an art form in itself, I think.
Well, it is. It's writing, and it's not just creative writing, but powerful communication. How can, through the written word, I make you understand what somebody is going through, and the impact of a creative project on that person's life? So I combined the two: my love of art and my love of writing. So it's been a passion of my whole life, but I think I gradually worked out how I could make a career and a living out of it.
Amazing.
That's great. The fact that you managed to combine that and make it into your living, that's something very admirable, I think. I'd like to ask you, I saw in your website that you have a very small employee group. How do you guys work under so much pressure? Because you have so many projects going on.
Well, we're constantly growing. We're also very lucky. We employ a large group of people, and we actively employ people who wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to be employed otherwise.
Wow.
So a lot of single mums, a lot of people who've moved to other countries. We have employees in Mexico, we have employees in Berlin, in Paris, where they've moved for various reasons, people who are disabled, who can't leave the home as easily as others. So working with us is a really lovely way to engage with an industry where there isn't sort of set times, and they can be flexible.
Okay,
I love how you're giving. So I'm so sorry for interrupting you, but I love how you're giving back to the community so much. It's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. We also actually have we're taking on apprentices around different places in the world. So, for instance, we've got apprentices in Kenya and Uganda, where fundraising isn't really an industry as such, but it gives them the skills to build a career themselves, which can be international, but out of Nairobi and out of Uganda. Yeah.
That's amazing. What can I take away from you? What advice would you give me if I say maybe I'm having a depression or something like that, but I want to engage myself in art? So what advice would you give me? Which activities can I do? Something like that?
I would say the quickest way to the quickest way to improve your well-being and mental health is to join a choir.
Oh.
A choir?
Yes, singing. So there's two quick ways to form trust and a bond with a community. The quickest way is to laugh with somebody. If you laugh with somebody, then immediately the barriers come down. You want to be with that person, you trust them more, and you build a relationship. The second quickest way is to sing with somebody. It releases oxytocin, you feel better, you are vulnerable when you sing, so you increase trust with that person, and you feel good. And it allows you to emote. Singing is a very emotional, emotive way. So what I would say is go out, find a choir, join a choir, be around people where you don't necessarily have to talk directly about how you feel, but you can express yourself.
Definitely reconsidering that. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us right here.
Oh, absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Καλώς ήρθατε στο SNF Nostos. Ακούτε το SNF Pop-Up Radio από το Radio Workshop και το Radio Pantheon, όπου λέμε ιστορίες που επανεστιάζουν και κάνουν focus στην ψυχική υγεία.
Just now we had a very insightful conversation about how music can heal people, and we're here with the experts. So Zanelle, I'm passing it over to you.
Right, thanks, Helena. So right now, we're with Niarchos, who is a song healer and a transformational breath coach. Hi, Naya.
Hi, so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So, Naya, it's been a very long and scorching hot and exhausting day. Can you please heal us with a young song, even if it's 2 verses? We're tired. Can you
Oh,
pretty please?
okay, let's see what
Please.
wants to come through. I'm free to feel, free to feel. I wanna heal, free to feel, free to feel. I keep it real. I'm free to feel, and I can heal, free to feel, free to feel.
Phenomenal.
Now my body
Amazing.
giving me goosebumps. Thank you so much.
Oh,
That
it's
is-
my pleasure.
That was wonderful. That was, oh my God. I'm so Naya. Can you take us back to the moment when you realized that your music heals, like your music and your songwriting actually heals?
I don't think it was as much of a moment as it was an unfolding. You know, during the pandemic, I had a lot of time to think. As a full-time, pre-pandemic, I was a full-time touring musician and performing artist. So overnight, my livelihood went away. And so I got to really think. And personally, what the memories that came to mind were me being a girl, sitting on my bed with a guitar in my hand, feeling like I had to write a song that would make me cry. And I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. I was just doing something that helped me to get my emotion out. But looking back at that as an adult, I realized like, oh, that was me healing myself through song. So I started to understand that, and I really just kind of thought to myself, okay, well, if I could do that for myself, if I could heal myself through my own music, could I do that for others? And it was just a question that I had at first. And I'm so grateful that through the work of Song Healing Trauma and the young people that have been courageous enough to share their stories with me, I did see healing happen before my eyes when I would work with these young people, hear their stories, and channel these songs. Yeah, it was really an unfolding.
So take me through the feeling, as you've mentioned, that young people trust you with your stories. It must be a very incredible feeling. Like, they trust you with your stories. Some of them, maybe, I think it might be their first time venting out to you. So how does it feel? Take me through that.
It feels like a privilege. You know, it feels like an incredible privilege and an incredible responsibility. It's not just stories these young people are telling me, it's the most horrific moments of their lives. And they're coming to me to have an opportunity to feel all that and to speak about all that without being triggered by all that. And that's a really challenging thing to do. I think about trauma less as the thing that happened and more as the body's physiological response, right? So even if it's years later, even though you're not experiencing the trauma anymore, the body is still responding as if the event were still occurring,
exactly.
right? And so they're coming to me with these kinds of experiences, hoping to find some way of healing that physiological response. And so, and then beyond that, you know, for a lot of these young people who are particularly survivors of sexual assault or domestic violence or still members of gangs in some cases and are dealing with real threats of violence, I'm navigating how to be able to not only heal themselves but also protect themselves and their loved ones from further harm. And so it's an incredibly, it's a privilege, it's a responsibility, and I've had to trust myself to be able to navigate such complexities. I can't go in with any kind of doubt about my capacity to hold space and be that safe space for a young person, and also trust when I know it's beyond my expertise to be able to call in support from other healers and, you know, therapists and mental health practitioners and things of that nature, right? So I need to be really clear. There's a clarity and a trust required as well.
So what we're getting from you, right, and some of our previous guests as well, is that mental health is a journey. And earlier on, you mentioned that your unfolding happened during COVID. And a lot of us weren't thriving during COVID. We were calling suicide hotlines, depression hotlines, and all of that. So how did you keep your mental health in check during COVID in order for you to be tuned in to let your unfolding happen? How did you do that?
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, the years leading up to COVID had kind of prepared me for it. So my personal mental health and trauma healing journey began as a weight loss journey. I was an artist in a full-time performing artist living in Los Angeles, which has a reputation for being quite vain. And I had a manager at the time who told me I needed to lose weight for my career, basically. And so I began that journey, and so I decided that I needed to, if I was going to go on that journey for myself, I was going to go on that journey for myself, right? And so I decided to use my weight loss journey as a way to take care of my body. And so I succeeded in that, and I was able to take care of my body. So what I will say is that I think a holistic approach to anything, to any kind of health, be that physical health or mental health,